All right, so the NFC North. First, I want to talk about who's going to win the division. Then later on, I'll get into win totals and give you guys my best bets. We got the Green Bay Packers at minus 170. We got the Minnesota Vikings at plus 300. The Detroit Lions at plus 1,000. And the Chicago Bears at plus 1,400 to win the division. And the sexy pick right now, the pick that everybody's been looking at, is the Minnesota Vikings. The Green Bay Packers losing Devontae Adams. The Minnesota Vikings getting a new coach, an offensive-minded coach, getting Zimmerman out of the building. I do believe there's room for some positive regression to the mean for the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings were a team that lost a ton of close games last year, and normally in the NFL, when a team loses a bunch of close games one year, they're due to win all those close games the following year. That's just kind of the way that it usually goes. You don't get the luck of the draw one year, and the next year it comes around. So it looks like the Minnesota Vikings are due for some good luck. But with the Minnesota Vikings, in order for them to win the division and to clear their win total right now as it stands is 9.5. In order for them to win the division and clear that win total, it's going to take them getting every single break. They have a favorable schedule, but things are going to have to go their way because at the end of the day, the defense is solid. The offense has a lot of weapons, but it's still Kirk Cousins. It's still Kirk Cousins at quarterback, and that does leave question marks. You don't know exactly what you're going to get. You know that he's solid, but you don't know exactly what you're going to get. He's a middle-of-the-pack, above-average quarterback in this league right now. And because of that, 9.5, that's not easy. That's not easy. To win over 9.5 games, you got to be pretty dominant throughout the season to get at least 10 wins. And with the Green Bay Packers right now at minus 170, the Packers have cleared their win total the past few years. I've told you guys, I've made bank off of taking the Packers over on their win totals. They're winning 13 games every season. And I know Devontae's gone, but Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, an offensive line that always seems, no matter who's there, to be productive. You got Aaron Rodgers still, just like when he went to Arizona last year and he made something out of nothing. You still have arguably the best quarterback in the league. At least in the regular season, he plays like the best quarterback. You have him, making something out of nothing. And then you have a defense that's improved as well. So they're going to change their play style. They're going to start playing in a way that probably benefits them more come the wintertime in Lambeau. Assuming that they're going to have home field advantage, they want to play in a way that's going to help them in that home field because they were struggling to pass the ball in those crazy conditions in Lambeau last time out against the Niners. But I just think the Packers, at minus 170 and the over-under at 10.5, 10.5 for the Packers and 9.5 for the Vikings are both pretty fucking sharp. And if you put a gun to my head, maybe the Packers get 11 wins, maybe the Vikings get 9 or 10. But this is very sharp stuff. This isn't stuff that you want to bet. And as far as winning the division, I'm not gonna hop off of the Packers just because everybody's taking the Vikings this season. And the Vikings are probably the sharp pick to win the division, but I can't quite pull the trigger. I'd rather pass on that than pull the trigger. There's people who are pulling the trigger and taking the Vikings at plus 300. I would rather pass on that than pull that trigger. I think it's just a little too tight. We're talking about some pretty sharp stuff right now. At the end of the day, everybody's kind of off of the Packers, but they still win a ton of games in the regular season. Now, as far as win totals go, like I said, the Green Bay Packers at 10.5. I could see myself going slightly over, but that's just not a good bet. It's just something that you're late on. You should have been betting the Packers over the past few seasons. It's not the time to bet the Packers over, but I would bet the Packers over if I had to. The Minnesota Vikings, once again, at 9.5. I believe they were at 8.5 earlier, but earlier in the summer, but people have been betting that up. So Vikings at 9.5 right now. And that's really, really sharp stuff. I could see the Vikings winning 9 games. I could see them winning 10. They have a favorable schedule, like I said. But I don't know. If I really had to pick, maybe the Vikings at 10 wins. But this is just way too sharp. This is a bet that shouldn't be touched. Next, we got the Chicago Bears at 6.5. With the Bears, a lot of people are saying you just got to hammer the under. I'm trying to find a reason to say you take the over. I'm trying to find a reason why you would pass, but sometimes it's just that simple. The Chicago Bears are arguably going to be the worst team in the NFL next year. It's going to be hard for them to get to 7 wins. Justin Fields is going to make some plays. He's going to have some exciting moments where we say, wow, the kid is doing something special. But overall, to win 7 games when you're playing against the Packers, when you're playing against the Vikings, when you're just have an incompetent coaching staff and roster, and they just don't have it right now. They just don't have enough talent. They just don't have enough. So the Chicago Bears under 6.5, that's something that I would definitely take. It's something that I don't really love because it's not a sharp bet. It's kind of something that the public's just riding heavy, everybody's smashing. But at the end of the day, you can't just make it too complicated. You got to take what's there sometimes. And the Chicago Bears are not winning 7 games more than likely. And lastly, we got the Detroit Lions. Detroit has an over-under of 6.5. Detroit to win the division right now is plus 1,000. And those are not bad odds at all, guys. Plus 1,000 for the Detroit Lions to win the division. I'm just talking strictly value. They're not going to win the division, but just strictly value. Sometimes you got to look at this stuff from a strictly value standpoint. If an injury were to occur with the Green Bay Packers, if an injury were to occur with the Minnesota Vikings, I mean, if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt and they got Jordan Love out there and the Minnesota Vikings don't catch some breaks, plus 1,000, that's amazing odds for the Detroit Lions. But, you know, they're not going to win that division more than likely. But 6.5 wins, over, under, give me the over. And like I said, I like that Chicago Bears bet. You could count that as a best bet. But this Detroit Lions over 6.5 is my favorite bet that you can make in the NFC North. The Detroit Lions at 6.5, even the Detroit Lions plus 4 week 1 against the Eagles, I like a lot. When you look at the Detroit Lions schedule, it's hard not to imagine them winning 7 games. It's hard not to imagine them. I've seen people say that they're going to win 9 games this season. They have a lot. They have a running back. They have wide receivers. They have a tight end. They have an offensive line now. And they have a quarterback who, Jared Goff, he's not all that. I'm not going to try to sell you guys on Jared Goff. But we've seen Jared Goff play good when he has everything set up for him. And right now the Detroit Lions are creating a roster that has almost everything set up for him on the offensive side of the football. On the defensive side, they picked up that pass rusher in the draft. They've done some things. That their coaching staff, Dan Campbell's not the greatest coach, but he's a guy who he energizes the team. The guys get behind him. They rally behind him. The team's about to be on Hard Knocks. They have a lot of energy on their side. They're a team right now that's just they got that feel-good vibe to them. The Detroit Lions are ready to come into this season and make some noise and ready to show you guys that, hey, last season they sucked, but they covered a whole lot. They were close a whole lot. And this season is going to be the transition from, losing but covering to, winning and covering, or losing close ones and still covering. That trend, that next step that good teams make, where eventually they start being favorites in some ball games. That's the position that the Detroit Lions are headed towards. I'm excited to see what they end up doing. Like I said, 6.5 wins. They should be able to get over on it. I see the Packers winning this division slightly over the Minnesota Vikings, but that big gap that they have over the Vikings the past few seasons is going to tighten up a little bit. I see the Detroit Lions coming in at 3rd at about 500, and I see the Chicago Bears struggling mightily this season, definitely under 6.5 wins. So my 2 best bets, the Detroit Lions over 6.5 and the Chicago Bears under 6.5. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you guys got winning the division. I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking the Minnesota Vikings. It's just a sharp bet. But I want to see what you guys think. Get in the comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for viewing the videos. I'll be back with more. Till next time, peace.